Hello and welcome in to another edition of the Stadium Experience with Jake Elmsley. Jordan Moment here alongside, and things are a little bit better than they were looking last week. I'm going to start off with that, Jordan. We're going to start off with that. Last week maybe we overreacted a smidge. Maybe fairly. I don't think it was an unfair reaction. I'll say that. The Patriots.
I wouldn't call it an overreaction.
They deserved that reaction. Premature reaction?
I think it's an appropriate reaction.
We were right to be right. We were right to react that way. However, they did beat the Jets. The Patriots beat the Jets. It's great. It's great. Unbelievable. Season's back on track, baby. But no, yeah, okay. How do we even start with this? So the Patriots beat the Jets last week after the bungling against the Bears. Me and you were pretty doom and gloom. We thought we were talking about they had ruined Mac Jones. They should be sellers at the deadline. You were on like the fire Bill Belichick train.
All these things are still true, by the way.
The second winningest head coach in NFL history as of now, officially. Could have been it last week. Couldn't get it done. Got it done this week. But we were pretty doom and gloom last week. Now, they did one thing I did forget to say last week that I thought about after the show, which I always think of so many things I could have said after the show, but I forget. But I did say, I'm like, if there is any, or maybe we did talk about it. I don't really remember exactly. If there's any world where they get this season back on track, or at least get this quarterback thing back on track to any extent. We talked about this. It's they have to pick a lane and stick with it and hope, like, if it's Mac, you just rebuild some level of trust with him that I have to assume was shattered by the way everything went, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. Or you pick Zappy and you just run with that or whatever. You just got to pick a lane. And they did. Mac played this full game. The Patriots weren't particularly impressive in this game against the Jets. I will say this is 110% a game that the Jets lost compared to a game that the Patriots won. However, Jordan was very bullish on the Jets. Jordan's been a Jets guy all season. I wasn't there. So I'm not going to sit here and act like this was some massive... it was a massive... I will say this was a massive win in terms of their season and their program not falling completely apart. Okay, I'll say that. It was a massive win in the sense that they lost this game. We were out on everything regarding the New England Patriots, and they had to clear house and restructure their entire leadership. So I guess on that front, it's a massive win. But it's not a massive win in terms of, beating a real legit team. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. Because I didn't believe in the Jets. You did, Jordan. You did. If we're being consistent, Jordan, you did. You believed in the Jets a little bit. And I told you, Jordan. I told you until I see otherwise over a long sample size, I will not believe in the New York Jets.
One of the best defenses in the NFL, top 10 defense.
You listen.
Maybe top 5.
Listen, the Jets' defensive line looked great in this game. Mac Jones got sacked 6 times. 8 QB hits.
Pressured on 30 of his 41 attempts.
13 tackles for loss by the Jets in this game. Patriots O-line without David Andrews, horrendous. I don't know what sort of and without David Andrews, Cole Strange looked horrendous. I don't know what kind of checks or what kind of coverage or what kind of protections he's given Cole Strange there. But without him, Cole Strange was atrocious in this game. He got benched for Isaiah Wynn. So they need David Andrews back. And I assume he's going to be back because it was a concussion. I assume the concussion will be over. But now they look great against the Bears, but nevertheless. Without David Andrews, terrible, horrible. Quentin Williams was all over Mac Jones in this game. Which, again, to a certain point, I will say, after the game, I was well of the opinion that Mac Jones played bad in this game. Like bad, thumbs down bad. I've come I've come around a little bit, Jordan.
Oh boy.
And I'm positive you're not going to agree with me. I've come around to he played okay. I've come to like an okay. I've heard some people who are smarter than me. It's not some people who like really dove in. Some people who have looked at it, and we'll talk about the picks because obviously there was one play in this game that completely decided the entire direction of this game. Really, for the most part. Which obviously the pick miss. You want to call it the pick miss?
Call it the pick miss.
Want to dub it the pick miss? The pick six that Mac threw that got called back due to a roughing the passer call that had no influence on the throw at all. Let's make that clear. Mac got hit well after the play. It was from his blind side. Didn't even see it coming because Mac's pocket awareness. There was like one or two of those. Like Mac was being harassed all game because the O-line wasn't playing good. But there was a couple of those hits that were more Mac's fault than the protection's fault. But whatever. Like when you're getting swarmed at every single play, I don't know how much I can really hold it against you. At what point does awareness not make a difference? But obviously that play goes through. Completely different game. They're down by 14. I mean, we've said it a million times, Jordan. This team is not built to come back from down multiple scores. They probably lose the game at that point. Or maybe Zach Wilson throws them back into it. But I assume maybe that's the point where they entirely take the ball to Zach Wilson's hand. Because, woof. We'll talk about Zach Wilson in a minute. But, when I saw that play, Jordan, I was like, if he didn't get hit, benched. I'm like, if that play stood, like Mac is out. Like that's when you go to Zappy. I'm like, fine. They did it then. They did it coming out of the second half, Jordan. Knee jerk. Would you have felt anything bad about that?
No, not at all.
But like I said, in being fairness, there have been a couple of people, Greg Bedard, Evan Lazar, even Barth, I believe. A couple people have read it. They've looked at it. Said it was more in Jacoby Myers, that play. Said it was like it was some kind of miscommunication in the pudding there, and that, somebody wasn't in the spot where they were supposed to be. So, I don't know. I didn't go look at it. I mean, I looked at it, but I don't know. I'm not so adept at reading route patterns, Jordan. I will admit that. I am no film savant. But I will say again, like just trusting that for a minute, because again, it's been a lot of people who are smarter than me who have said that, and coupling that with my God, who could have played good being pressured on 30 or 40 of your dropbacks? Well, I'll reel it back. I'll give Mac a C. Can we give Mac a C, Jordan?
No.
You're not giving. Okay. You're not giving him a C.
It's just some copium right now.
Okay.
I just want to remind everybody that Mac Jones is tied for the most interceptions.
Oh, I know,
this
Jordan.
year.
I'm saying in this game. I'm saying just in this. I'm not saying on the season. Oh God, I'm not saying in this game, Jordan. I'm saying I've come from like a D to like a C. I've gone up a little bit. Like my immediate knee jerk was like D. I was like, whatever. Like he made the whole game. They want whatever. Come from a D to a C. I've gone from that. That's where I'm at. I've gone to like he can start against the Colts. And the coaches, Jordan, they had nothing but good things to say about Mac, which I didn't cue the audio. Which, you know what, Jordan? Even if he sucked, they had to do that anyway. I'll be honest with you. If Mac was played, even if Mac did make all those mistakes, those were all on Mac. You know what? At this point, you got to stick with him. Just come out and say good stuff. Don't come out now at this point. You're not getting anywhere. We talk about this, Joe. If they pick this lane, they got to stick in that lane. And at that point, you just defend him. Like, whatever. Yep, the route things, miscommunication. Wasn't on him. Was not on him. But, so there's that. Ramondre Stevenson is very good at football. Really, Ramondre Stevenson is the only reason. Which, by the way, this is a game where they, had one touchdown all game. And also, the Patriots' average starting field position in this game was their own 43-yard line.
Clutch field position.
So, field position, they would do it. They were nailing the field position game in this game, Jordan. Jake Bailey had a great game. He had multiple punts, 50-plus yards. Marcus Jones had a couple good returns. It was a bounce-back game for special teams with the Patriots, Jordan. Let me tell you. Bounce-back game for the punting unit. Also, it helps that, the starting quarterback on the other side threw 3 interceptions. They were all the worst interceptions you've ever seen. Because Jordan, let me tell you. You'll appreciate this because, I don't come in here and intend to be positive.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a fair amount of Zach Wilson breakdowns this week, right?
Yes.
Just because I wanted to be versed, I read some things. The biggest takeaway was Zach Wilson's favorite thing in the world is to run around aimlessly run outside the pocket, spin around aimlessly for no good reason, and miss, and have it look like the coolest play in the world, like he's about to make some vintage Russell Wilson play, and then he just throws the worst ball you've ever seen. And then on every single one of those plays, when you watch it again, there's a guy who was open before he got out of the pocket they didn't see, and there was 2 other guys that got open while he was doing all the spinning, and he somehow threw in the double coverage. That's every Zach Wilson play you'll watch. I watched a 15-minute compilation of him doing that exact thing. Which, again, was probably why the Jets have been hiding him the last few weeks. And what did Zach Wilson do in this game, Jordan? Oof.
He sells them out.
He threw a pick trying to throw the ball out of bounds. I don't think I've ever seen that. But I'm saying I watched, honestly though, Jordan, I watched all of these and started forming in my head with the intent of, and then Jordan, my synapses started firing on the first drive when the Jets looked pretty good. Oh, maybe the second drive. On the Jets' second drive, when they started looking pretty good, and he made remember we made that nice, a pretty long pass down to, oh God, who was it to? Who was it to? He made a couple of good passes to Garrett Wilson. It looked like they were kind of moving the ball. My brain started going, oh, well, if they keep doing this would be the second week in a row that a team that's had an anemic offense and their quarterback has been terrible has gotten going against you. Because Justin Fields played his first good football of the season last week against you. I'm ooh, if this now happens to Zach Wilson, now, because we've talked about get right games a lot this season, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
Are you the get right team now? Are you the team that teams get going against? My brain just started firing on that. And then he didn't. And then Zach Wilson played like garbage. But just so you know, Jordan, I know, I got narratives. I got a lot of narratives I kind of always am brewing up here. I'm not afraid to throw them away if I'm presented with information that disproves it. But Zach Wilson is horrible. He has 10 career interceptions against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's bad. My Lord, you want to talk about bad? Bad. My Lord. And it's all his own doing. I'm being serious. It's not even not the Jets have a great roster around him, but my God, he just cannot play. That dude is horrific. That dude is horrible. I don't even know where I'm going with this take. Just wow. Oh, the Patriots did a good job containing him this week. They did a much better job containing a mobile quarterback than they did last week against Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields, they kept over pursuing. This game, they did a good job containing him. Gotta tell you. Random thing I noted. I'm they are not over pursuing him. They are not giving him the ability to run 11 yards for first down. All right, that's pretty good. It's not that hard. You kind of just want him to throw the ball. Because for the most part, good things happen to you when he does. But, So again, the Jets kind of just beat themselves. Zach Wilson kind of beat the Jets, honestly. Even then, the rest of the Jets roster played fine. But, is it unfair that I'd be calling for Flacco right now if I was a Jets fan, I think?
Oh, 1,000%.
It's funny because I started thinking about it. Too. Because last season, I didn't understand what they were doing with that. Because last season, they would have him throw 50 times a game, right? If you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just throwing an ungodly amount of turnovers. And it's well, of course he is. You're just having him throw the ball 50 times a game. What are you doing? This clearly he's not going to develop if you're just throwing him out there and having him just sling it and just do everything. And yeah, I just let me just double check how many pass attempts he had per game last year. Zach Wilson had 30 pass attempts per game, not as many as well, but still, like, he was just, I'm like, what are they doing? Like, why are they doing this? And then this season, I'm at least like, okay, like, it looks like they're trying to hide him, but not having him throw the ball a million times a game, and just kind of like, managing how many throws he's making. That's probably a better way to develop him. However, when Flacco was out there, they were having Flacco throw 50 times a game. I think that just something about this team, like, whichever LaFleur it is it Mike LaFleur? Is that his name? It's Matt LaFleur's brother is their OC. But that Jordan, they want to throw it. They just want to throw it. It is Mike LaFleur. They just want to throw it 50 times a game. It's like in like their DNA. I don't know if that's like a Robert Saleh thing. Like they want to. So when they had Flacco, they were doing it. And then they went to Zach Wilson and they were like, okay, we'll keep it in our pants a little bit on this. We're going to be calmer. We're not going to do this. And they just couldn't help themselves. It's got to a point where they just couldn't help themselves. Because again, they were put in a situation where because of a call, they were not up 17-3. Because again, I will keep saying that the Patriots got bailed out by that. It was the right call. It's a stupid rule, but that was the right call. I will tell you, Robert Saleh was like bitching and moaning about it. Oh, do you hear anything of him from after the game?
No.
Oh my God, like mega hardo football, man. They were like, oh, so like, what did the ref tell you about the call? He's like, told me that he hit him too hard. Got to do better than that. Got to give us a better explanation. Nothing annoys me more, Jordan, than hearing like coaches and players like get upset when about roughing the passer calls. I got to tell you, I get why people don't like it because it's a horrible rule. However, it somehow annoys me more when like coaches and players act like they don't understand how they call those. Because I will tell you, Jordan, at this point, is it not clear that if you hit the quarterback after he throws the ball and he moves at all, they're going to throw the flag every time, whether or not it's correct or not?
That's pretty much it.
And it's very dumb. And Mac Jones, I said this about him last year, Jordan, a lead at flopping. Flops like a 10-year vet. It genuinely might be his greatest skill at this point. And I say that unironically. Last year, Mac Jones drew a bunch of them like that. Like a vet. Just knows exactly. Does not just stand there and try and take it and be tough. You touch him after the ball comes out, he flings himself on the ground. Like you should. That's because it gets it done. It's so stupid the way they call these. But anyway, that's side tangent. I don't know. I get really annoyed about it. I somehow get more annoyed about it than I do the rule. Because it's like, okay, like are you just saying this? Like, are you just pretending that you don't understand the rule? Because like then like you get to be angry, and like then like you get to get your players mad at the refs, and like the fans are mad at the refs, and like they're not like mad at you for like your player like doing like a stupid thing that got you penalized and like basically cost you the game. Or do you just actually like not like understand how these? Because I can't imagine, like, you're an NFL coach, like you must like see how the officiating works, right? So you have to just be pretending, because like me and you understand how the rule works. It's dumb. It's very dumb. It's so dumb. Oh, is it annoying? But like we understand it. Oh, it's so I don't know, Jordan. I don't know if that's that's just a random thing that gets up my back. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, you don't get that call. That game probably lose game. Probably a totally different game. But Zach Wilson sucks. So, they play them again in 2 weeks. See if Zach Wilson gets his act together. But do you have any other thoughts on this game, Jordan? Because that's really it. They're back to 4-4. Baby, season back on track? ?
That was a whole lot of copium. Listeners, I'll tell it to you straight. I'll stare right into my camera. Patriots are dog shit. There is very little redeemable about this team. You have no quarterback. Your offensive line's falling apart. Your defense comes and goes. Special teams.
Devin McCourty
is good.
Devin McCourty is the all-time active interception leader.
Too bad I barely notice him any other game.
If you don't notice the safety, I will say this: not noticing a free safety is probably a good thing.
Probably.
Like it's one of those positions where it's like if you don't see
he's not
the
getting beat.
If you don't see the free, like, oh, he must be doing his job because you don't notice that he's there. I've said this a bit. It's something I've said for years. Like when Devin McCourty is gone, we'll just feel it. You'll notice it. You won't. Devin McCourty's a player you're not going to appreciate until he's gone. I've said that for a long. Like whenever Devin McCourty retires or like becomes washed, like it'll just suddenly be like, God, why are there all these like big plays being made like over the top? Like what's happening here? What's going on? Like why do they keep getting beat deep all the time? Like because Devin McCourty's not there. Oh, he was good. Anyway, go on.
This team is bad.
Top,
bottom, inside out. Nothing redeemable. If they make it to the playoffs, it'd be the greatest fluke known to man. Every team in that division is better than them, including the Jets.
John. I've been out on the Jets this whole time. I'm still out on them.
Jets defense is better, top to bottom, inside out.
And can they play any degree? Can they score any degree of points with Zach Wilson? If they got a Flacco, I'd feel better about them.
Zach Wilson, obviously not that guy, but neither is Mac Jones.
I think Mac is better than Zach Wilson.
Mac is better than Zach Wilson.
Mac Jones is not that guy. Much. Zach Wilson is an active liability.
Mac Jones is an active liability.
Mac Jones has been a little bit of a liability too.
When you're leading the NFL in interceptions,
he's not leading,
including over that guy Zach Wilson.
He's not leading.
Well, he's tied.
He's not the number one leader.
Second or third, whatever it is. Mac Jones has been the worst starting quarterback not named Baker Mayfield.
That's unfair. That I would tell you.
That is true.
The leader is Matt Ryan. And then
Matt Ryan doesn't play anymore.
And then Kenny Pickett and Matt Stafford both have 8. Then Mac Jones has 7. So he's in third. Or fourth, however you want to do that. I'm going to say fourth for my own narratives. He's fourth. A Bailey Zappi 4. He is fourth, Jordan. Thank you very much.
He's bad.
He's not been playing good. I still think they got to stick with him.
He's not the guy.
I think that's probably not the guy. I think they're getting Mac Jones out of this funk is the only thing you're saying. I will argue this with you, Jordan. I can't say that they're dead in the water.
They're dead in the water.
If only because there's like 4 good teams in the NFL, and then about 22 teams that I think could all beat each other at any given moment.
And all 22 of those teams are dead in the water.
Yeah, probably, but 7 teams have to make the playoffs in each conference, you know? Like, as much as I want to say the Patriots have been terrible.
They have been terrible.
Every team's been terrible for at least some stretch of time.
Yes.
So we're getting to this point where it's like, like the Bills, Chiefs, probably Ravens are like better, like here. And then it's like 22 teams, and then like the Texans, and like the Panthers, and that's just everybody else. It's like I can't say they're dead in the water. I hate to say it, Joe. Like I can't sit here and just like say that I can say they're bad. They're bad.
They're dead in the water.
They're bad. But Jordan, if
they make the playoffs, they're still dead in the water.
But Jordan, if we were doing
standing does not change the reality.
But Jordan,
of the fact
if we were doing a Jets, Dolphins, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Colts, Jaguars, Commanders, Rams, Cardinals, Packers, Bears, Lions, Buccaneers, Falcons, Saints, or Panthers podcast, we'd also be saying this team's pretty bad. If we're being honest with ourselves, that's my.
A lot of those teams are. I feel better about a lot of those things more than the Pats.
Jordan, I don't think it's a lock. Is all I'm saying.
I feel better about the Falcons than I do the Patriots.
And you see, I think that's crazy. I can see why. I get it.
I
but also, I think you're bad. I think
more confident. Falcons.
You see, Jordan, I respect it. But see, I don't think that's a lock. That's my thing. Like, we're just shuffling around like 22, like 500 or just above or just below 500 teams that have all played some of the worst games we've seen in our lives in the span of like 2 months. I don't know why. Is this parody? Is the NFL a parody? It's like...
I know it's a whole bunch of teams without quarterbacks, without direction, and without good coaching.
Yeah, like every team has some combination of all those things, except for like exactly the Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. You want to throw the Cowboys a bone, you can. You want to throw the Giants a bone, you can, and then that's it.
Except the Bengals, who kind of need a refund for their offensive line.
Exactly. Like the Bengals were on my good list. They might not be on my good list now. You know what I'm saying? Like on like my good teams list. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, we
if their O-line plays like that, the Patriots could beat them in like a wild card game.
What's the return policy for the offensive line?
Like, I don't know. Like, it's like
too late.
The Patriots. If the Patriots played them,
print out the label and ship it back to Amazon.
Like, if they played the Patriots in the wild card game and Matt Judon just got like 2.5 sacks and the Patriots won like 2017, would that be like unbelievable? So that's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's everybody sucks. Everybody's horrible. I don't know. Is this parody? Like, is this the only way you could have parody in the NFL? Like, PJ Walker just randomly had like the greatest quarterback performance of all time the other day. Did you see that?
Yeah.
PJ Walker threw the greatest Hail Mary of all time. And then they lost in overtime because their kicker can't hit an extra point. It's just a mess. Everybody's a mess except for like the 5 good teams. It's like 5 good teams and then like 22 teams that are passing the same 4 wins around. Basically. Which is like, it's like I said, like a few weeks ago, I'm like, well, all these teams I thought in the AFC were better than you aren't better than you. Now I'm like, you know what? Everybody's terrible. You're bad. Everybody else is bad. Like, the teams we thought were going to be better are still better. Some of them aren't. Some of these teams are bad. Like, the Bucs haven't been good. The Bengals haven't been good. Zach's is bizarre. The NFC East is still the best division in football.
Best division in football history.
The world is topsy-turvy. The world is topsy-turvy right now, George. That's my only point. I can't sit like I want to say, they're back to 500. Like I can't close the book on the season. Amounting to
they're cooked.
What's cooked mean, Jordan? What does cooked mean? They're not winning a Super Bowl.
They're going to go to the wild card, and then either the Bills, the Chiefs, the Titans, or the Ravens.
What if they get like? What if they just like rant? What if they get the 5 seed? Then they get like. What if they get like a 5 seed? Then they get like the freaking Browns.
What, the Dolphins? So they can lose to the Dolphins a third time?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Now that the Dolphins actually have a functioning,
Jordan, you're at the point where you can see them making the playoffs, though, Jordan. That's progress. Like,
I'm going off of your scenario. I still don't have them making the playoffs.
I don't know. It's like I
still think by some funky magic,
who are the 3 wild card teams that are like head and shoulders better than them? You know, it's like the stupid Chargers,
the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Chargers.
See, the Dolphins, and
probably the Bengals.
This Jets thing is crazy, John.
Dolphins for sure. Jets Dolphins are better than the Patriots.
Your Jets fascination.
Jets Dolphins are better than the Patriots.
The Jets paying you like this Jets.
I'm sorry to tell you,
Jordan. This Jets thing.
I'm sorry to tell you, Jake.
I'm not with you. The Dolphins, I'll accept this Jets thing. I cannot.
One day you'll accept the truth.
Jordan, what? 2 weeks from now.
I'll buy you a Sauce Gardner jersey. Will that help you come along?
I'm so glad he did. When he threw that pick 6 to her, I went, oh God, is that Sauce? I don't remember. I'm like, oh God, is that Sauce? Oh God, it wasn't. I don't remember who it was too. I was like, oh, if that's Sauce Gardner, I'm going to kill myself. I'm not going to go on the podcast with Jordan. I'm not going to do it if that's Sauce Gardner. We're not going to record this week. I'm not. And then it wasn't. Then I got called back. I was like, oh, well, you know, Mac Jones, elite flopper. Whatever the penalty drawing stat is in Madden, Mac Jones should be patched to a 99 this week. Genuinely. Like, why did Mac Jones's overall jump 5? He's like, you get the 99 overall trait now. X Factor. He's like a 78 overall bronze, normal development, X Factor penalty drawing. X Factor James Harden.
James Harden's been looking good this year.
Yeah, but great.
Dolphins and Jets are better.
Jordan, you are in
Bengals
the copium
are better.
With this Jets thing. Are the Jets your Patriots? Like, I don't.
Jake, look at that team. Zach Wilson is the only
Jordan, that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
Egregiously wrong with that Jets.
That's a pretty big team. That's a pretty big thing,
Jordan. It's a huge deal. It's a tremendous.
It's kind of the biggest. He is a saboteur, Jordan.
It is a season-ending deal.
Jordan, we talked two months into the season last year. Zach Wilson was on the mob's payroll.
Yeah, that is true. He still is.
Jordan, that's a pretty big deal.
the bookies are still on him, Jake. You can't blame the man.
Like Tess.
We're taking the money line this weekend. Better not mess it up, Zach boy.
We're taking over 2.5 interceptions, Zachy. At some point, you just got to try and throw it out of bounds, but just have it land in old man Devin McCourty's mitts. Nobody will notice it. He'll become the all-time leading interception leader. That's all they'll talk about. Nobody will look back at you and see how you obviously threw it to him. It's a perfect crime. That would actually be the way to do it, though. That would be the way to get the cover it, though. That'd be a good cover-up, though, right? Make sure you throw it to him, because then they'll be talking about him and not you.
And
he threw two to Devin McCourty, Jordan. It works. He had to throw two for it to work. I'm pretty sure the second one was the worst one.
And then there's still the Colts. I don't know.
The Colts. Maybe the Colts.
Is Sam Ellinger?
At the card shop I work at, we had a Sam Ellinger rookie card that was like graded in a slab, and Boss Man Bill took it home with him because he's a Colts fan. He's like, well, I want to hold on to this now in case, so I want to take it off the shelf and just to hold on to it in case it goes up in value.
I mean, if Sam Ellinger if dude's actually cracked, then I mean he's not going to be. There's no way. I refuse to accept that we live in the reality.
Exactly, John. That's what I'm saying. Like you're like, well, the Colts could be better. They could be. I'm not telling you they couldn't, Jordan. I'm not saying the Patriots are head and shoulders above all these teams. I'm saying that there's about 22 teams. Like, try to do an NFL power ranking right now. It's impossible. You get like your top 5 and whatever, and then you're like, 6 through 30 is whatever. Like whatever.
I could do a power ranking.
You want to put the Packers at 11? You want to put the Packers at 27? Whatever.
The Packers are nowhere near 11.
That's my point. But if you did, you'd be like, well, they have Aaron Rodgers.
Packers
I guess it makes sense. But also, you want to put them at 27? that also, I guess. I don't know. Damn. Are the Commanders 15th? Are they 30th? Who knows? Who cares? It's all the same. The gap between 6
Commanders would be a solid 18.
I say 20.
Solid 18 in my power rankings.
It's 6 through 30 is no man's land, Jordan. It's just all a bunch of players riding around on cobbled together welded, souped up armored cars in the no man's land. That's the wild card race, and the NFC South. And
it's very Mad Max.
And the AFC South. it's so fun. By
the way, Titans are 5-2.
They're not.
I don't know if you I don't know if you watched the Titans game this year, but it's painful.
It is. They're not good. You tell me the Patriots can't take them in a 4-5 or a 5-4 matchup? Tell me it's inconceivable.
It's inconceivable.
It's not. I disagree.
Derrick Henry would eat.
And by the way, Jordan, substitute the Patriots with any of these other teams. By the way, it's the same point. If you're like, well, I don't know, the Titans could beat the Bengals, but the Bengals could beat the Titans. The Browns could beat the Titans. The Titans could beat the Bengals. The Colts could randomly have a good game. The Broncos could randomly have a good game. All these teams are the same.
I mean, the Broncos are dead. Raiders are dead. Who else is in the AFC? Steelers are dead.
The Steelers are probably 31. The Steelers are not in that group of
Texans are dead.
Texans are actively trying to be bad. I can't tell you the Jaguars are dead. They might win 3 games until they win that division. They get one random win again. Have they played the Titans twice yet?
Well, Trevor Lawrence is in a bit of a slump. But
exactly. They play the Titans 2 more times this year. By the way, if they randomly win one of those games, suddenly they're in the playoff race. If Malik Willis just isn't good, I don't know. We've been talking about this for too long. The point is the NFL is really bad, right? It's just I know who's going to win the Super Bowl. I feel pretty confident in the group of teams that'll win the Super Bowl. But let me tell you, those 4 through 7 seeds in both conferences. Oh baby, are they alive as ever?
In the NFC it looks a lot better.
Oh, I disagree. The NFC looks even worse.
I mean,
the NFC only has one team I think is actually good. The AFC at least has 3 of the 5 good teams. Unless you want to put the Cowboys in that good team thing. I'm not even sure if I want to put the Giants in it. But they're winning a lot of games.
The Giants are a good team.
But are the Giants going to win a game where they have to score 20 points?
You said you don't win the games they won without being a good team, or at least they're a great coach team.
I still feel like
Ryan Dable is like heads and shoulders.
Eventually, it's gonna fall. The wheels are gonna fall off with that.
Nah.
Okay.
I don't.
I respect your commitment.
I'll put it to you this way: they'll win 10, 11, 12 games, but they won't be a good team.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, probably. Yeah, like they gotta win more games. They just have to at this point. Like. Well, yeah,
they will damn near win out, but they will not be a good team.
That's my point. So it's like the NFC. I can't say the NFC is better because the NFC only has like one of the actual. Like I think the Eagles are legit, and that's the only team. And every other team in the NFC,
the Eagles are good. The Vikings are fine.
They're fine.
I mean, they're the Vikings, so they'll probably lose in the first round anyway.
Yeah, they'll play too many prime time.
Fine.
They'll get flexed in the prime time and be like, "Oh no, please, no, keep these 1 p.m. games, please."
Unless the Saints make it and they play the Saints, then they'll go to like the Super Bowl.
I saw somebody call Kirk Cousins the noon night, and I was like, "That's good. I like that."
He is the noon night. you put Kirk Cousins before 8 p.m. Go with it. The Seahawks are good.
I think
the Seahawks are good.
They can't play defense. Their defense is atrocious.
They
can't tackle.
They can't. It doesn't matter.
All their receivers are going down. Like that's another team. Like I don't think they're gonna like sustain it.
It doesn't matter. I'm fully bought into the Geno Smith.
I love it. Oh, trust me. But like it's yeah. I don't know.
And then the Cowboys are good.
The Cowboys are good.
And the 49ers are
good unless everybody gets hurt more.
Good unless
they sometimes look like a top 5 team in the league and sometimes look like dog water, like every team in the NFL. Well, no, excuse me, every team. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So speaking of the NFL as a whole, Jordan, we got to talk about this. So the trade deadline. We talked about that way too long. The trade deadline has come and gone. Today, in fact, so glad we recorded today. What a day! By the way, Jordan. So the trade deadline's come and gone, and we'll bring us back to the Patriots for a minute. Last week, you said, and I think we both basically agreed on this. We said, like, Patriots lose this week, 3-5, sell. Don't know who you sell, but sell. Whomever. And then they won. And a lot of trades went down today. The Dolphins traded for Bradley Chubb. The Bills kind of shuffled around some late round guy. The Jaguars got Calvin Ridley. I want to talk about that one in a bit. William Jackson went to the Commanders. The Bears of all teams decided to load up, obviously, for a run here. Then the Bears also decided to sell and traded, and the Ravens got Roquan Smith. And we'll kind of go on like how we feel about some of these deals in a minute. We can just kind of generally talk about them. But from the Patriots' perspective, because I was fine with them not selling after they won, because again, them and 19 other teams can be the 6th seed this year, have an equal shot at it. Maybe an NFC team sneaks in there somehow. I don't know. They're like, let's just give the Falcons a 6th seed in the AFC. Who cares? Not if it matters.
Falcons ahead in the AFC South, baby.
Give the Giants the 5 seed in the AFC. They deserve it more than anybody. Give it to them. The Giants are playing a wild card weekend. The Giants have a matchup against the Titans, but I was fine with the Patriots not selling. They did not make any moves any trades, Jordan. They did make some moves today. They did make some moves now. But I guess, Jordan, what's your initial? Do you think the Patriots should have done anything? And if
yes.
What?
Shore up their offensive line, get depth.
Yes.
Maybe get some depth in the front 7. Maybe get another weapon for Mac Jones and/or Bailey Zappi.
Well, Bailey Zappi's the weapon in and of himself, Jordan.
That is true. T.J. Hawkinson definitely. If you're gonna have the most expensive tight ends, you might as well get one that's better than the 2 you're currently paying for.
Well, Jordan. You talk about O-line depth.
Linebacker help.
Well, Jordan, you talk about O-line depth.
More edge rushing.
I see, Jordan, though. They did do a little something today.
Okay.
They did sign Hayden Howard into the practice squad.
Oh, shit.
And veteran punter, this is from Evan Lazar, and veteran punter Michael Pilardi So
we have another punter controversy
on the practice squad, just depth.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a kicker on the practice squad they got rid of. So, in fairness, they didn't let the deadline pass without doing anything. They're augmenting the team a little bit.
I'm not saying if Roquan Smith for a second and a fifth.
I would not have done that. I would not have done that. Here's where I'm at, Jordan. I'll be fair. As much as I'm saying this team could do something, I'm not investing in this team.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fair.
I gotta be honest. I'm not investing in this group right now. Because there's no move that puts you in like a vastly better position I think is worth making. Like, I don't want to trade a second round pick for Roquan Smith right now and then pay him like, a bajillion dollars. Like, the Ravens are now going to have to pay him because not like they're in a position where they can like lowball Roquan Smith now. Like, you trade that much for a guy?
Well, I mean they're definitely doing some lowballing.
Well, they can't lowball him because he knows he has you by the balls.
It was Lamar Jackson.
Oh, nice. Well, but they can't do it to Roquan Smith because now Roquan Smith's like, well, you just traded for me, so like you kind of have to pay me. You can't just like let the picks go to waste. That'd be stupid. You kind of have to pay him. Unless you win a Super Bowl. Oh, if the Ravens win a Super Bowl, I guess you can be like, oh, we don't have to pay. Like, this is a rental. They won a Super Bowl. It's whatever. Nobody's gonna.
I mean, it's not like they gave up an astronomical amount.
Yeah, but still, like a second is like a pretty good. Like that's like a big win now move. I say the second's fairly valuable, but you do that.
Not really when it's going to be like the 60th pick.
Yeah, but still, like it's still like a fairly major asset to give and let it for 9 games of a guy, Jordan. Like that's what we're talking here. Like 9 games of Roquan. Like if you pat and then you just sign him and you get then whatever. Like you have the player, but they're gonna have to pay him. And now, like it is at a point where I'm not furious that the Patriots didn't give up any major assets. Like if the plan, like they are going to have the one glimmer of hope, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
They are going into this offseason with the 4th most cap space in the league right now. They're going to have money to spend. They're going to have their picks. And you are seeing a lot of these teams are waiting until the 3rd year of the rookie contract to really spend big. You're seeing that's what the Dolphins did with Tua. That's what the Bengals did with Joe Burrow. And they didn't spend a ton the offseason before last season. They just also happened to somehow make a Super Bowl because Joe Burrow's a pretty good guy. And Jamar Chase is a stud. But it was this offseason where they went out and they spent a bunch of money. Of course, we talked about how they got to find their receipt for all these O-linemen, but, that's not the point. So if that's the plan, I don't hate them not, because I guess I don't really know what they should have gone. Like, if this team had traded a first for Bradley Chubb, Jordan, I'd be ripping them. I would not have made that move. I don't know about you. Especially now, when how can you really trade your first round pick as a team not knowing if it's going to be like the 9th pick or like the 22nd pick? You're in a weird position right now. Well, maybe you should just be getting as many picks as you can because you don't know how bad teams are going to be. But now the move I would have thought about, though, Jordan, I'm going to round back to this.
Mm-hmm.
I would have considered the Calvin Ridley move. I did not think that's a crazy one. That one came out of nowhere. Like, Roquan Smith didn't want to pay for it. Bradley Chubb don't have to give $1 billion to. Even like T.J. Hawkinson, they're spending way too much at tight end. They can't trade for another tight end. They can't. They spent too much money at that already. Calvin Ridley, though, for a 4th? Now, mind you, it becomes a 2nd if they re-sign him, for one thing. Very weird conditional pick. Like, that pick can go from a 5th to a 2nd. Very weird conditional pick. That's a move I would have made, Jordan. I don't know about you. I would have considered that one. Like, buying really low on Calvin Ridley. Like, that feels like a move Belichick would have made in the past, That feels like a classic, like, Belichick, like, buying super low on a guy move, And we talked about Calvin Ridley before he got suspended this offseason, did we not?
You did. That's why I rolled my eyes.
Yeah. Well, no, but I don't know.
That's an old take coming back to the surface.
But it is. But is it unfair? Like, yeah, but Joe, if I was willing to consider trading like a first or a second for a guy, and then nothing's changed about him other than the fact that he hasn't played because he's been suspended. Why would I not then say, well, if you can get him for a fifth now, like, why would it? Come on, like, and you only have to give him a real asset if he ends up panning out and you re-sign him. Because if you're re-signing him, it means that you think he was worth the second. Like, that's the move I would have looked at. That's the move. That's what I'm like. All right, like that's an investment for next year. That's a weapon. Like that's the kind of weapon you're talking. Like I mean, unless you think Calvin Ridley's like, just atrophied, and maybe he has, but Calvin Ridley's very good, Jordan.
He's good.
Calvin Ridley, I would have that's like the one I would have considered making. But again, it still is in line with like that's not an investment for this year's team, which I don't think is worth investing in. Very much. But that's the one I did look at and go, oh, it's you're right, Jordan. I was salivating for Calvin Ridley a few months ago, so now I'm like, ooh, for a fifth. Oh yeah, I would have liked that, but nope. Trevor Lawrence, third year for him too, loading up for him. He's gonna go to Trevor Lawrence, so that's exciting. Good for him. Honestly, good for Trevor. Good. I don't know any other. You have any other like just any general thoughts on the trade deadline, Jordan? You got anything else? You got anything like? Because it's like remember like a couple years ago when the trade deadline was always a mirage. Like for a long while there, it was like the trade deadline was never legit. Like we always talked about it, it always got hyped up, and then just nothing ever. It would be like backup safeties were getting shuffled around. Until like the last like 2 or 3 years, it's like because today was the record. This was the most trade deadline moves of all time today with 10 trades. This was the record. This is the most that's ever happened. But even the last couple years, it started to turn up. Like I don't.
I really, really, really like the Vikings picking up T.J. Hawkinson.
That's pretty good for them. That's gonna be nice for them. I think that's a weird one.
It just makes their offense that much more potent, more weapons.
Weapons for Kirk,
more
baby.
Overall balance gives them a greater flexibility to run 2 tight end sets. And T.J. Hawkinson, he can do a little bit of blocking when Kirk Cousins gets a little bit flustered.
Oh yeah,
which he does when he plays at night. He's scared of the dark.
He can hold Kirk when he gets afraid when the sun sets.
Exactly.
Maybe that's why they built a dome. They could just project like the sun onto it and be like, no. They could like mess with Kirk's alarm and wake him up. Be like, oh, Kirk, you ready? It's time to go play the Packers. It's 11:30 in the morning. They're just closing all the blinds in his apartment. Like, come on, Kirk. No, keep your sleep mask on. It's fine. We'll drive you to the stadium. They have like pre-taped like AM radio shows playing in the car. Like, all right, Kirk, it's time for the game. Oh, is that the Sunday Night Football crew? No. Come on, Kirk. Of course not. That's Ian Eagle up there.
But no, this is Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen and T.J. Hawkinson. Good. That was a really good pickup, and they got him for a relatively cheap price.
And like I think it was a fair price. But that being said, I do always just a random thing. Another thing that gets on my back. I do enjoy how every time any team trades like any player on a rental ever, people start like just going, oh, fleece, overpay, fleece. It's just a random thing. Like when Robert Quinn got traded, people were like, well, they should have been able to get a third for Robert Quinn, not a fourth. I just always really need to remind people, like when it's a move like that, it's like if a team had offered a third, they would have taken it. It's not like they just trade these guys like indiscriminately. Like it's like they call all the teams, I assume, and just take the highest bid.
I mean, I kind of agreed because Robert Quinn, he was fantastic last year.
Well, he's good, but it's just again, it's like
he's having a bit of a down year.
It's just people randomly just get stuck in on this thing. Like, well, you should have been able to get this much. It's like, well, no, like they got the most that was offered. Like whatever a guy gets traded, especially when it's a guy on like an expiring contract, like in any sport, really, like they got the most that got offered that they were willing to do, unless it was like the most offered was like specifically by like the Vikings or somebody, and they're like, well, we don't want to trade in the division. But other than that, like it's like I don't know, that's a random thing that gets in my back. People complain about it. I just find it very weird and arbitrary. People just I'm like, you're just assigning like an arbitrary value to the player. Like, there are dumb GMs, but I think every GM is at least like baseline competent enough to understand when one offer is bigger than another. But
and I do like the Roquan Smith trade to the Ravens. On the face of it, helps them shore up their run defense. They have a guy who can sort of play that soft, medium, Smith intermediate distance.
Is very good.
Yeah, Roquan Smith he's one of the best interior linebackers.
Which is your favorite position?
But problem is that just isn't a position that necessarily matters.
You probably don't want to pay $18 million. Oh, you need good ones. We probably don't want to play an interior linebacker $18 million, but they're probably going to have to now. That's kind of the thing about the Roquan Smith trade. And now they might be in a position where they have to pay him and Lamar in one offseason, and I don't. That might get.
That's
or not pay Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
you bite that bullet.
If the Ravens win a Super Bowl, it's all whatever. It's all gravy. But they put themselves in a weird spot with that one.
I mean, it's not like Roquan Smith is going to be taking money from Lamar. Like, the money Lamar should be getting, it's just pennies compared to Roquan.
But yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about Patriots Colts. We just straight up forgot. I have no thoughts. I don't have much. I hope that Mac plays better.
Jonathan Taylor's back from injury.
Good for him.
So let's see how they do against a real bona fide running back.
If they played some good running. They've been, except in the Bears game where they couldn't defend the run for a second. They've done pretty good. They've been very good against the run all season, except for specifically against the Bears. Which, again, might just be a matter of, like, the Bears are a bad team, and sometimes they're good. The Patriots are a bad team, sometimes they're good. The Colts are bad. All these teams are bad teams that just occasionally play good for, like, a week. It just makes everything confusing. Back to the same point. However, I still have faith that Bill Belichick can exploit Sam Ehlinger. I have to believe in something in my life. You have a score for this game? It's so hard to even talk about. It's just
I'll go Patriots 27, Colts 21.
Oh baby, yeah. I don't know. I'll go 17-10.
Whatever the under is, I'll take the under.
17-10 doing. Let's see it. Let's see what it is. Yeah. No. This is hard. Look, what's even to talk? You have any other Colts takes, Jordan? I don't mean to cheap. Rob anybody really want to talk about this Colts game? We forgot to even talk about it.
There's been some rumblings of some
39.5. 39.5 is the line from the Rhode Island Sportsbook.
Oh yeah, take the under.
There's
under. Been some rumblings, and
that means neither team scores 20, Jordan.
That's fair.
Colts plus 5.5.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I don't want to bet on it. I kind of don't want to bet on any NFL game now. Like, they're all so unpredictable. Like, if the Colts just randomly like beat the Patriots for no reason, it also wouldn't be shocking. The Patriots 30-piece them, it wouldn't be shocking.
But there's some there's some displeasure with Jim Irsay sticking his hand in affairs.
Oh yeah, well God. You have some Colts stuff. Oh wait, give me this then, Jordan. Sorry.
I mean, it's nothing official, but I've been tied into rumors and
okay. Jordan does have Colt sources
and old connections in Indianapolis sports radio, and their dudes are pretty upset with the way their quarterback situation is being handled at the moment.
Well, don't worry, Jordan. This offseason, they're gonna go find another old guy, and it'll be fine.
Hey man, Jimmy G.
It'll be Jimmy. Could be Mac.
The Red Rifle.
Oh, could be Andy Dalton. I'll be on the lower end, I feel like, though. Could be Russell Wilson. Oh, which by the way, I forgot to even bring up that. Like, by the way, how do you within 2 months go from making like the winningest now of winning now trades, right? Trading all those picks giving Russell Wilson $1 bajillion to then 2 months later be like, yeah, we're gonna trade away like our best young edge rusher because he just, we're selling right now.
Which one? That's why I say the Seahawks are a good team because they fleeced.
They did.
They fleeced the Broncos.
Ryan Tannehill
is definitely
Colts?
up in line for the next.
Sorry, keep going.
That's the Seahawks. They fleeced the Broncos. That's a genuine fleece because apparently Pete Carroll knew that Russell Wilson was dog shit and no one else did. So kudos to Pete Carroll.
2-0 when Tom Brady goes to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just listing keep going.
But
revitalized single Brady goes to Miami.
Boy, Russell Wilson. That has to be the worst contract in American sports history.
It is something, isn't it? It is something. But yeah, now they're selling. It's crazy. They're selling.
They have to clear cap. They
have to do that. They're just like, we're not going anywhere this year. We don't need. We just
you can't have Russell Wilson give you a $58 million cap
Bradley Chubb. They just don't
2
want
years,
to.
And then they can't pay Bradley Chubb.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, but you would keep if you were trying. They were trying to contend, Jordan. If you were trying to contend, you'd keep the guy for the year. And that's the point.
They're not contending.
That's
the
point. It's gone so far off the rails. That's my whole point. They've gone from trying to be a contender to selling off parts to the Dolphins. Let's send let's send Bradley to a real team. Let the Dolphins. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Also, great for the Dolphins when they.
I don't even know if it is. I think it might be an overpay
and beat the Pats again.
I think it might be an overpay, honestly.
When Bradley Chubb comes in,
that does make it worth it. I gotta be honest.
Has 7 sacks.
Those week 13 sacks are not worth. Those do not make or break the trade.
I mean, if you think about it this way, look at the Dolphins' logic. The Rams traded last year for Von Miller, and Von Miller took over the playoffs.
They also traded
and propelled them to the Super Bowl.
Oh no, I understand.
Was easily the best player in the Super Bowl.
They have the space. They have. Well, the thing is, they have a quarterback on a rookie deal still. They can load up. Which I'm hoping maybe they load up this. They didn't do anything last offseason. Maybe this offseason they do some spending. Maybe that.
Which that's the Dolphins' logic. I mean, they're in prime position to make a playoff push.
They are, or they could finish with 7 wins. I have no idea.
No, they're getting more than 7 wins. I can tell you that.
Probably not because they have 5 at this point. But my point still stands. Every team in the AFC could end with 8 wins or 11. I have no idea.
I think the Dolphins are entering the easier part of their schedule.
What even is easy? Yeah, they are. They are.
I don't know if they played the Jets yet.
They played the Jets once and they lost. That was a Skylar Thompson game.
Oh yeah, that was a glorious game.
They're playing the Bears, the Browns, the Texans, then the 49ers, Chargers, Bills, Packers, Patriots, Jets.
Okay, so the Bills is their last difficult game.
And the 49ers. And maybe the Packers get it going by the way. Which, by the way, I love.
49ers.
By the
Packers are dead.
Another random thing to point out. I thought you said they're dead. I thought you said they were good. I thought you were on the 49ers.
No, the Packers.
Oh, okay. I also love that every single team in the AFC North made move. Excuse me. And the NFC North made moves besides the Packers. They didn't get nothing for Aaron Rodgers. They got him nothing.
Because Aaron Rodgers doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve it, I know. They didn't get him anything. The Aaron Rodgers was like TJ Hawkinson.
Oh, man.
No. We got to get him for a real quarterback like Kirk Cousins.
Is the better quarterback, really.
Oh, it's glorious.
Who would have thought we've come so far from 2018?
Oh, Jordan. Not me.
When we were spending hours in WXIN arguing about how if Kirk Cousins was good or bad, and now I'm just a staunch.
Oh, Jordan. I brought you around, Jordan. Jordan, I've seeped into your brain so much. You hate Aaron Rodgers now. You think that Kirk Cousins is good. I've just subtly been gaslighting you for half a decade.
I didn't see it then. I see it now.
Oh, I know, Jordan. That's how I always win.
I see it now. I see the light. I
always win in the end. I'm
like, oh, shit. I'm looking at all these quarterbacks. I'm like, well, Kirk is better than most of them. He's better than Dak.
Everybody's
better
bad.
Than Aaron.
The whole league's bad.
saying Kirk Cousins just the sneaky workhorse on the 6-1 Vikings.
The noon night, baby. Let me tell you. Let's see, how many 1 p.m. games do the Vikings have left? Oh, I'm loving a good Kirk Cousins convo. Okay, good. Oh, they play the Bills at 1 p.m. That's a good one. I'm betting on the Vikings in that game. Good for them. Oh, they got Cowboys at 4:30. That might not be such a good one. They play the Patriots on a Thursday night. I think that's Thanksgiving. 8:20. So Patriots got a break with that one.
No, the Vikings are still going to smoke.
I don't know, Jordan.
They're going to smoke.
There's a trend. And
I don't care. Like if they literally just check down to T.J. Hawkinson the entire game, they'll win. And then they'll just switch between check downs, they'll win.
1 p.m. Jets, 1 p.m. Lions. TBD on the Colts game. Couple of TBDs in here.
To be determined if the Colts are still a franchise.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, I can see why TBD at the beginning of the season when we thought the Colts might be. I thought the Colts might be good. You were always you were first on that one. I thought that might be a real game.
I told you. I saw through the lies of Jim Irsay.
Giants at 1 p.m. They get the Giants at 1. That's massive for them.
Oh, that's a game of the week, right?
If that was
there.
A 4:30 game. No, you don't. They don't want it to be a game of the week in Minnesota. They want it to stay firmly at 1 o'clock. If that game gets flexed to 4:30, I'm picking the Giants. No. That game gets flexed to 4:30. No, not good for the Giants. That's an L for them. And then Packers at 4:30. Okay.
Well, they're just going to beat the Packers.
You never know, though.
I'm so off on the Packers. It's ridiculous.
So am I, Jordan, but also I'm off on Kirk Cousins at 4 in the afternoon.
It's my hatred of the Packers has been slowly increasing throughout the year.
I'm glad, Jordan. I'm very
glad. Ever since that 13-3 season,
I get it. I'm happy to hear it. Oh, trust me. It's music to my ears.
They really are.
Oh, it's music to my ears, Jordan. Don't you get me wrong. Jordan. But yeah, so that happened. So that's everything in the NFL. So Ime Udoka's back.
So did he do something wrong? Is he in trouble?
Yes. Okay, so this article that came out on the 30th from ESPN, written by Woj, baby. Basically the title was Sources Investigation Found. By the way, if you don't know, we'll lead it with this. Steve Nash got fired today. The Nets had enough. They fired Steve Nash and they hired Ime Udoka. Basically, all within an hour. But this article came, which again, remember, he was not suspended by the league. He was suspended by the Celtics. The Celtics have let him go. Have released him from his contract, and he's with the Nets. I think if it's not official, it's going to be official. But this article came out the other day. Sources investigation found Boston Celtics coach Ime Udoka used crude language in a dialogue with a female subordinate prior to the start of improper relationship. And then here's how it reads. The independent law firm probe into Boston Celtics coach Ime Udoka found that he used crude language in his dialogue with a female subordinate prior to the start of an improper workplace relationship with a woman, an element that significantly factored into the severity of his 1-year suspension, sources told ESPN. Those investigative findings, which described verbiage on Udoka's part that was deemed especially concerning coming from a workplace superior, contribute to what is likely a difficult pathway back to his reinstatement as Celtics coach in 2023. The power dynamic associated with a superior's improper relationship with a staff member was the primary finding and policy violation cited in the law firm's report, which was commissioned by the Celtics and completed early last week. So, I don't know. As I've said this whole time, I feel like there's something else we're not being told about this, or the Celtics are really, really up on workplace sexual misconduct. Which, as I've said for a long time, Jordan, my complete lack of faith in sports franchises tells me that that's probably not the case. So I don't know. But I guess it doesn't matter anymore because now he's with the Nets. Didn't matter to the Nets, whatever it was. Did not matter to Joe, which that almost tells me maybe it's not as bad. Because I would assume that they would have done the due. But maybe they did it. I guess they would have had time to do their due diligence. I have no idea. Joe. I have no idea what to make of it. So I don't want to speculate too wildly about that because this isn't fun sports ball stuff. But either way, Ime Udoka is the head coach of the Nets, which is certainly, when I saw they fired Steve Nash, I was like, well, they should have done this in the offseason. I'm glad they didn't just because it spites KD and Kyrie a little bit. But the smart move would have just been because clearly Steve Nash couldn't coach. just wasn't meant to coach. He wasn't brought in to coach. I'm not even going to sit here and slander Steve Nash. He was brought in almost specifically because he doesn't know how to coach. And they didn't want to coach. KD and Kyrie just wanted somebody to stand there so Kyrie could blabber on about whatever he wants to blabber on about that day. But I'm like, well, if they were thinking about getting rid of him, they should have just gotten rid of him. And then they made this move. I'm like, well, this isn't going to matter because who are you going to bring in? And you've already lost your chance. But then he brought in Ime Udoka. And I got to say, that's like as landing on your feet in this situation as you possibly could. I'm going to say, like as assuming that whatever Ime Udoka did was worth being suspended, doesn't take away from how good of a job Ime Udoka did last year. So in terms of, again, like, this is about as good as it could get. Do you think any coach, though, can right this Nets ship at all?
No, I'm still unsure about the severity of Ime Udoka. What the fuck did he do, man?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because there's no way
it was just one thing,
it's
right?
as simple as like he walked up to like one of his like subordinates. He's like, damn, sit on my face or whatever the fuck he said. I don't know how Ime gives it up, but I feel like there's more than that.
I do too. I don't know, but again, I just don't want to spec because I don't want to speculate.
No one knows.
And
I don't
have
know.
it be like fun, jokey joke time, and then it comes out it was something really bad. You know?
Yeah, but assuming it was consensual and it was just like an abuse of power.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, like,
sure, but but in the sense of like him as the Nets coach, oh no, he's fucked. Out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah, I agree.
There's nothing good in Brooklyn.
There's plenty of good
wasteland.
There's plenty of good on paper basketball
wasteland at the
talent.
Barclays.
There's plenty of good on paper basketball talent. Just 2/3 of it isn't interested in playing basketball, and the other third of it isn't interested.
Well, no, one third isn't interested in playing basketball. Another third can't play basketball anymore, and another third doesn't want to be there.
Just want to be playing basketball there anymore. So again, there are things, I've said this all offseason, there are things that the Nets can do. There are lineups they could run that could like utilize Ben Simmons and like kind of make it all fit together.
Simmons is
on paper, Ben Simmons is playing terribly. But there are things on paper that they could do. I did not have any faith in them to do any of them. I have in the coaching staff to make it happen, in Kyrie Irving, and KD and Ben Simmons to want to do them. Do I trust Ime Udoka to look at a sheet, to look at the roster and go, okay, well, like, if we like don't have Ben Simmons play point guard and start alongside a center who also can't shoot anything out of the paint, and we just like put Ben Simmons at center and take some of like our really good shooters, because they got a ton of shooters on that Nets roster, let me tell you. Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, Seth Curry, great shooters. Again, they got a lot of great pieces on that Nets team, Jordan, I gotta tell you. And we like put like some of them in the starting lineup, and we just like, that could probably work. I trust Ime Udoka to think of that. I don't think it's going to matter. If he had a full offseason even, maybe I'd say, maybe you can get those wacky Nets to buy in. Probably not. Yeah, he's not fixing. If there was any chance he could fix, if any coach could fix this, I don't care who. It has nothing to do with Ime Udoka. He's not fixing it, jumping onto the treadmill while it's moving. In mid-season, like, oh my God, like, I you know what? I thought he might not ever have a coaching job again. People were saying that. Good for him that he has a head coaching job, but he was actually suspended for 1 month. But my God, I don't think Kyrie Irving wants to sit on the freaking podium and argue with reporters who ask him about. We'll play this audio for you real quick. I don't even want to get too deep into it, but the other day Kyrie just got posted some movie on his timeline about like a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff in it that a reporter tried to ask him about it. Then Kyrie, who does not like his own words being put in his own mouth, God, I got real upset. And this is not. Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not taking credit away from Ime Udoka, but I don't think anybody could fix this. I think if you want to talk about uncoachable, Jordan, this might be an uncoachable group of guys right here.
It's done.
I think Ime Udoka can draw up some great defensive schemes.
They don't want to play defense.
Come up with some great lineups for them. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna want to do any of it.
Kyrie never played defense. Kevin Durant is.
Kyrie's balling a little bit this year.
He can't. Kevin Durant can't be a consistent two-way player, and Ben Simmons can't play defense.
You'd think he could.
He
Defensive Player of the Year votes candidate 2 years ago. Don't know what happened. Can't hit a layup. Ben Simmons might just be mentally shattered, but
he's fucking soft.
If Ime was using his team in 2K, I'd feel really good about it.
2K wouldn't matter because you can just do all the inputs.
You can
yourself.
make everybody do what you can just make them all do things and all want to play basketball. But yeah, good for him, I guess. I suppose.
I mean, good. He has a job. That is the worst job in basketball.
It's not the worst job in basketball.
It's the worst job. What's the worst job?
The Kings.
No.
Really?
I'd gladly take this.
You see, at least like Durant and them will be probably gone after the offseason, though.
No. I will take the Kings 1,000 times over. No. I will waddle in mediocrity before I deal with the shit show at the Barclays.
Well, I'm saying, but you only have to deal with it for a year probably because they're all gone this offseason.
I don't care.
Well, I see, but then you're like,
I'll take 5 years of mediocrity over any length of time with that.
I don't know, because at least you get to be in Brooklyn. Like you get to do like the you have to like
Sacramento's fine.
What?
Sacramento's fine.
You taking Sacramento over Brooklyn?
I mean, given the baggage there.
Listen, if you just kind of like ready to like put your head down and be like, this is gonna be a bad year.
See, nobody will ever talk about the Kings ever. Every single dumb shit thing the Nets do they're
so entertaining. How do they keep doing this? They really keep finding new ways. Like I saw Steve Nash got fired. I was like, oh, that's kind of a story. That's interesting. But then they did this. Everything. Jordan, they are the greatest soap opera in America. The Brooklyn, they are very good at entertaining, though. As achieving the core idea of professional sports, which is to be entertainment, the Nets are elite. I'll give you that. I will give them that. They do keep picking the most entertaining angle to take on anything. I will give them that. This is content, baby. It's unbelievable. I can't wait to see what they do next. Last week, the owner was calling out Kyrie for being anti-Semitic. This week, they're hiring a coach who did suspended for maybe sexual misconduct or maybe worse. And now Ime Udoka is trying to straighten out this mess. Oh, God, Jordan. I can't wait to see what happens next, honestly. Being a Nets fan must be pain. Being a Nets fan must be pain.
And to think they gutted that wonderful D'Angelo Russell team for this.
You know, baby. Next year they can just build around Ben Simmons when Kyrie and KD leave.
Would you just stop it?
Kyrie will go into that. Will go into that max slot that's created when Russell Westbrook leaves the Lakers. KD can finally get traded to like a real team like the Jazz.
Jake Elmsley, Ben Simmons will never be good at basketball.
And then they can build around Ben. They can get pieces around Ben Simmons. Maybe like swing a trade for a guy like for an underperforming star like a Joel Embiid. Maybe pair him with Ben Simmons.
I mean, Joel Embiid can shoot better.
He can't shoot better. You know, it's perfect. I've always felt like those two could work out together.
If he doesn't just straight up fight Ben Simmons on site.
I've always felt like those two would be a good match together. I don't know about you.
You know,
I always felt like on paper it just might work between the two of them.
Mm.
But good for Ime Udoka, or you deserve this as your punishment for whatever you did. I'm not sure what it was. Question mark?
It's definitely a punishment.
It's a form of punishment.
Sort.
It's a form of
me personally, I would rather not coach. I would rather try to get the Celtics job back. It's straight up.
Just what?
I'd rather try to get the Celtics job back.
Oh, he's not getting the job back. I can't imagine getting the job back.
Even if I fail, it's a better use of my time.
Yeah.
What is that? What was that first practice going to be like? Ime Udoka is going to come in.
Oh, I'll show you.
And Kyrie's going to be like.
Yeah, hang on. I'll show you.
I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community. you guys come in here and make up this powerful influence I have.
Yeah, like that. It'll be like that. It'll be great. Kyrie will probably ask if they can have like a reading circle instead of a practice. Like, I have the rough draft of my memoir. Can we do like a Socratic seminar on that instead of practice?
And also like are they if you don't respect Steve Nash, are you going to respect this random guy?
Because he's actually a good coach. Because he actually knows how to coach.
They don't want to be coached.
They don't want to be coached. I don't know if this is Joe Tsai saying like F you guys. I'm picking the coach now. I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna go hire a real coach and just hope we're better off next year. Which again, if Udoka's there next year, he probably get it together. I feel better about the 2023 Nets, Jordan. How about that? I now feel better.
As Nick Wright calls them, the next year Nets.
You know what? I feel better about the 2023 Nets. I will tell you
next year, and then it'll be next year, and then it'll still be dog shit.
No. Next year they'll go back to be a nice scrappy team with like Seth Curry and like some guys. Next year they'll go back to just Emo will be coaching them. It'll be playing good defense, and it'll Ben Simmons will still be there, but whatever. And it'll be fine. It'll be far less entertaining for us and far better for Nets fans everywhere.
Ultimate copium.
Maybe they get somebody back they get like somebody back to build around for KD. They get like Lauri Markkanen and the boys from the Jazz, and they just they make it work.
Greatest copium.
Great. But yeah, you got anything else for the day, Jordan?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, me too.
Dolphins and Jets are better than the Patriots.
This Jets thing, just Jets fascination. I don't know who paid you.
Yeah, I'm not paid. Look at the Jets and look at the Patriots.
I don't know whose payroll you're on.
I'm not on any. I wish I was on a payroll. I wish I could be a shill for the New York Jets.
But all right, we'll be back next week. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.